Kirti, Arun, Adhya. Uh, I'm using personal data, so there is a possibility that sometimes you may not receive me well because uh, here the university internet service is slightly interrupted because I think the fiber optical is cut somewhere, so maybe because of that. So, but can you hear me right now? Means you can receive
Yes,
me
sir.
Yes,
clearly?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Sir.
okay.
Yes,
But
sir.
there
Yes,
is a
sir, we are
possibility.
receiving it.
Yeah, thank you. Ishita Ramanuj, thank you. Hari Govind. So, let's see that how long this will support us because uh, in this building where I am right now housed, here the signals tend to fluctuate a lot. Anyway, I have shared this list. I think all of you would have seen. I have shared the
Yes, sir.
list, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and I have also told you that how you would constitute your groups. So every difference of the sixth seat in the serial number will constitute a group, right? So 2 to 7 because the one, as I told you, is occupied by the name and registration. Uh, so that's why I said 2 to 7, and then 8 to 13. That way it will happen because I'm not sure that my data will support for very long. Therefore, I'll cut short everything and would immediately tell you that what you're supposed to do in the group task. And I want you to commence your group task. Right. So the first unit is about vocabulary. Vocabulary you would be picking, and I know that some of you would be good at vocabulary uh, because you would be probably a reader. Let me just see that if there is an option of recording. Can I just caption recording? Uh, Caption. Okay, I'm going to start recording. Start so that you can get my instructions later on also when the class is off. So, the one way to pick up vocabulary is, of course, to read and to guess the meaning, and that's probably is a very popular method. Uh, and also because most of you are brought up uh, with English language, you have spent a quite deal of time with the language, directly and indirectly you were involved, right? So you would be feeling very comfortable, and thus everybody would feel actually if uh, he or she spends a lot of time with language. Can I create a WhatsApp group so that we all can collaborate? Acha, you keep doing it among yourself, but yeah, I'm seeing the message. That's what I'm doing, right? So, but the good way actually is to keep consulting dictionary that we are not very habitual of because uh, that's a time taking and a little actually time taking effort, not difficult but time taking and requires lots of discipline. So maybe because of that we don't do that, and that's also not encouraged in schools also, right? And as I told you in the very first class that uh, most of the school systems, board systems, thrive on reproducing of knowledge. So if you are good at that, you stand a very good chance. Though it does not mean that the high marks do not represent your intellect. They may, but they may not also, right? Uh, so I would be giving you some resources. Uh, you would read them, the articles from the given resources, and each group in every class would be presenting uh, the words that they will pick up from the article. And I would give you the articles which are I'll direct you to the actual resources that are very reliable resources. I have been using them and I have tested them quite a lot. on variety of parameters, because I recommend them to use to my students. So I ensure that uh, they are foolproof in all the ways, right? So the first is, you might have heard the name of BBC. BBC produces a lot of other uh, educational stuff other than uh, being a news agency. Uh, it's also involved in producing a lot of other stuff like social science related stuff, and I would mostly be encouraging you to pick up uh, sociologically oriented, uh, in general, sociologically oriented, psychologically oriented stuff, because you are doing your major in science and technology. So, of course, you would be reading the stuff related to that, and you would be very capable of picking that, because you're going to spend time. So, and you have been also associated with the same for very long. So, uh, it would be rather easy for you to follow things. But therefore, I would be then introducing you to the different areas that would present you a bit of challenge following the concept and articulation. And one of the fine thing, or probably the very uh, tacit benefits that all of us have, if we associate and we spend time with social science related stuff, is that it very subtly develops our level of intellect, and also our ability to articulate, because in social science things are abstract, like they're not very tangible as science stuff is. So therefore, in order to explain them, in order to make it look uh, tangible, we have only one resource, and that is language. So people who are involved with social science related stuff, you would usually see that their articulatory side or articulation is slightly on a better side if they seriously engage themselves with it. So that's why. So let me just present you the kind of articles that I want, and then I'll tell you that how you could be doing it. Just a second. It will take time because cannot work on plenty of windows very quickly. Okay, so rejoin meeting. Let's see, meeting. Oh, that's a different meeting. Sorry. Continue screen. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So you see here, they have their articles on film, books, music, TV, style, identity, design, and the more if you want to explore. I think the same thing here. right? The best thing I found about them is that these articles that they present and write, they are not very opinionated article. They are not just a personal piece of information. They are mostly driven and cultivated uh, from research, right? So the masterpiece that changed history, unflinching images resisting injustice, for example, right? If you see here that these blue coded, blue coded uh, words are basically the another piece of research from which they have picked up their stuff, right? So, for example, the minister controversial was seen people as testament of how far country still needed to go and reach equality. The so they and here also like it is now showing. So they would provide you sufficient evidences, right? The retrospective. So there can be some bold. I think this is a little bold article anyway. But there can be plenty of things. You can choose things your own, right? So a striking image of ignored Americans, history that changed, and you can then go to the books. So you can pick up things of your choice, right? But the stuff is serious here, right? So, but that doesn't matter. It's okay. Pick up article from, for example, from identity. Pick up an article, right? And you see that how they use the generation redefining gender, the story that could speak up, the radical trained millennial love, right? The photos of hidden from birds, how Hollywood has deafness wrong, stunning images. So they would mostly be introducing you to the very different sides of the things that we are engaged with on day-to-day life, right? Uh, but they would be according a very serious treatment, and the treatment would mostly be based on the previous piece of research, not just, uh, for example, let's see what is playing with the gender norms has long been a part of rock storm charm and charisma. So this doesn't any androgynous look tells us about masculinity, sex appeal. Ask Cameron, right? So these kind of stuff, which is very very latest, right? So pick for example, let's see that because most of the articles are very very bold. So just picking the one that is less bold in tone. Oria Munjar is so iconic. Let's say, I hope that this won't be right. So you read that, and from here you pick up the vocabulary. And I'm present. There are other resources, Indian resources also. I'll give you Indian, foreigner, all kind of resources because I want you to read things from variety of resources so that uh, you become very cosmopolitan in your thinking, right? So here the best thing about these articles is that they're written for the word audience, and therefore they are they're, as I said, that based on the research, and also they use vocabulary very carefully. The language is good, and mostly it's written by the native speakers. So you would not just see the words, um, the foreign words or the less known words getting used, but also getting them used in a very proper context, and the vocabulary is very important to get the context right, right? Otherwise vocabulary, especially little high uh, caliber vocabulary, high uh, level vocabulary is context sensitive, right? Epitomized this way of thinking, right? The moon jars epitomized this way. Now let's look at epitomize. Like I don't know what I know, what I want you to see. And once you are seeing this, then you see in this way, right? At least pick up your meaning from the three sources. A perfect example of a quality or type with the little equipment and suitable footwear, she epitomizes the inexperienced and unprepared mountain walker, right? So, to be perfect example of. So, this will give you and follow three dictionary. This one, Cambridge, and this one, not Oxford. Collins is good. Yeah. Third word, present. If you say that something or someone epitomizes a particular thing, you mean that they are perfect example of that. So they are advanced dictionary, and they would mostly ensure that you pick up the vocabulary in the way that you can use that. So that's why they don't create that. They just give the meaning. They say that if you use it, you're trying to mean this, right? So the sleek lift that epitomized the hotel's glossy decor, right? And you see that how it is used here. The moon jars epitomized this way of thinking, the perfect way of thinking, right? It is used here. So they'll use words unnecessary. I mean, wherever it is necessary, not unnecessarily. They would be using difficult vocabulary, right? And and the benefit of reading such article is that you see that they're talking about the jar, right? And how long they're talking. We are talking here till here, right? Which is around 2-3 pages. And it's not easy to talk about uh, just one object and for 2-3 pages. If you deliver a speech just longer, this would sustain you for 10 minutes, and it's very difficult to talk about uh, just a thing, just a thing for 10 minutes, right? So that is what it does to you. So pick up one article and 10-15 words, whatever number of the words that you get, you write them. For example, I think I already have the one. Take a second. I have vocab presentation. Yeah, I have that. So can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah, so
sir.
that's what you're going
Yes,
to do.
sir.
You would pick up the thank you. You would pick up the vocabulary and meaning from the three different resources and the sample sentence. For example, resilience Indian team demonstrated an exemplary resilience in second inning of the test at Perth, right? So this is used, and this I wrote this sentence, but you may pick up that uh, from the article itself, right? And also the frequent combination, because that's how you develop your language. So, for example, uh, if an Englishman is speaking Hindi, and if there are, let's say, two Englishmen, one says, and both have picked Hindi, and one says, uh, धोती जरूरत है आज की, कपड़ा जरूरत है और मकान भी हमें चाहिए होता है, and the other one says that roti kapda makan आदमी की बुनियादी ज़रूरतें हैं. So I think the one who would say that roti kapda makan बुनियादी ज़रूरतें हैं, you would tend to think that this guy has got better command of Hindi, right? So because he's using the natural combination of words, if he says that uh, अच्छी खासी रकम, right? Then you would feel that he has got, as a native speaker of Hindi, that he has got both command, because that's how native speakers speak, right? They know the natural combination. They know the natural combination. We don't know actually the natural combination in foreign language. So, for example, here abject is used in terms of extreme. The report's finding present overwhelming evidence that refugees are living in abject poverty. So, abject poverty can be there, abject pain can be there, there can be some other thing. Imminent uh, Cambridge to a notable degree or whatever, right? Eminently readable book. Okay, so you can here uh, write the sentence and then the object frequent combination. And we would also be asking the class to add to the frequent combination. So that's how you would be presenting. So maybe you may get 10, 20, up to 15 actually. I would not keep it more, otherwise the presentation will be very long. Up to 15 words, minimum 10, maximum 15, 18 in case if you are pick up if you picked up an article that has a lot of unknown vocabulary. So these are some of the objectives that these articles are going to fulfill, and vocabulary always helps you. Vocabulary always helps you developing your language, right? Stop sharing. People say that your world is as big as your vocabulary, and I mean the research is suggesting now that this generation uh, does not have a wide range of vocabulary uh, because everything is unifying to the one thing. For example, I see that when I ask a student to rate something, maybe the lecture, my lecture, first lecture, how did you find? Then some of them, though they can say different, they can assign it different adjectives, right? Maybe out of politeness, they don't say that it was horrible, but mostly say nice things, right? So, but I do it also. I ask it because I want to see the range of vocabulary. So a student would say, "It was amazing, sir. Amazing, sir. Amazing, sir. Amazing." So if there are 70 students, and I will ask everyone, and if 30, 40 choose to respond, then 90% of them would be using the word amazing. And sometimes I think that is this the only word, or and then some would come at the end of the lecture, and then they would come and say, "Sir, it was amazing. It was actually amazing." If they think so, and I would say that was it amazing or something else? Just think through it. And when they'll think through it, then they'll say, "No, sir, it was interesting actually. No, sir, it was unusual because I present different examples in online." So uh, and then they realize, and I say that this happens because people use students tend to use amazing a lot because they are seeing this word quite a lot. The social media actually impacts a lot their vocabulary picking. And if you look at reality show, if you look at the comment sections, mostly people because the demand of the social media is that you have to sound trendy, and even if a command of the language is on lower side, still you want to uh, give the impression that your command of language is on higher side, and therefore you would tend to comment in foreign language, English, right? And because you would see that some people have used amazing, that is being used so uh, in reality shows, you would say amazing, right? Whereas it may not just always be amazing, it may be so. This is just an example, right? That how everything is converging to one, and therefore we are not getting as diverse as we are supposed to. And uh, actually, your command of language, your vocabulary, can in that way help you. It can uh, present you a little different because uh, that's what uh, the job of communication is, that it separates one from another. It helps you to cut above the rest, right? So that's why I want you to pick up from the different resources, and also, as I said, that you become more you're diverse in terms of your thinking. You won't be because every piece of article would be presenting a perspective, right? There's one more thing. Sorry, it just struck me. So when you're presenting vocabulary, it is important to inform the context, right? Suppose there's a word, this stigma, right? The stigma is mostly used in the social context. So if you have read article that is about, let's say, something related to the social stuff, and you say that this article is about the society, and in this article, it is basically it is attempted to explain that how certain things are made to be stigmatized, though they are not, but by assigning different explanation, by attaching them to the religiously inferior object, some things are made to look uh, taboo. Yeah, I mean, taboo. I mean, don't know. Taboo is, yeah, socially not socially prohibited is taboo, right? So stigmatized, but is a something that has a socially negative. For example, up to a certain extent, menstruation was stigmatized by society. For example, there's an stigma attached to psychiatric problems in India, right? So that is a stigma. Taboo is a thing which you cannot talk about, right, openly. Stigma is a negative social charge. So when you will tell us that this, I mean, you will give us the gist of the article, then your audience will understand that okay, so this word basically is used within this large context, right? Or in a way, analogically speaking, your audience will understand that this is an orbit. This is the orbit of this word. So that would be the first idea about the word. That word belongs to this. So you would not be using it outside that context, or maybe in an exotic context where it does not apply properly. So that's the first thing. Explain what was article about, and then give us the meaning, right? And from the three resources, with the sample sentence, specimen sentence, and then with the um, object, and sorry, with the sample sentence, and then show us in the article, and then the frequently combination. So that way you would have enough information in your mind. And I tell you that when you would start doing, you would realize that we know the vocabulary, but activating vocabulary is a very difficult task, very difficult. For example, the word arid. Arid means the area that receives uh, less rain. So you would mostly be using in that sense. But if you go to the dictionary, it will also explain you that in how many other contexts that word can be used. Arid textbook, arid discussion, it can be, right. So that way your communication will improve. So we are going to do that. I will give you the link of the article, not just this, but three, four others. So you pick one from any of the resources that I ask you to pick up, and I would insist you to pick up your article from you, from my given resources, because they are trustworthy, and also uh, uh, these days rather more difficult to save yourself from inauthentic knowledge, unauthentic knowledge, right? And internet, of course, is a blessing, but sometimes it's a curse wrapped in blessing. So it's rather more difficult to save yourself from the bad influence. So choose the one that I'm going to give you from sources. I hope that the exercises that you would do and you would present, uh, they are going to be helpful. That's all. So you do this in the next class. At least four group are going to do, and I'm giving this task to uh, 50, 51, 53, 54, 55. Five people. Bit of 50 to 55. Just, I'm getting the feeling of sneezing. Sorry. Weather is very bad here. It's fluctuating like anything. It's raining heavily, like cat and dogs, and then in the morning it's getting sunny and bright, and then all of a sudden weather changes, and I tend to be under weather because of the sinus. I'm sorry, right? So I call it a day, hoping that I have explained the matter, and the first four groups. would be presenting tomorrow, right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have shared the group link in the chat. Could you please join that group too?
Group? No, I'm not join. I'm not going to join any group. I tell you, everyone, because it's your group. You would be handling that. Uh, I would look at the final product. I would not be, because sometimes it's rather. Sometimes it looks embarrassing when you join the group and you see the kind of chat happening. So because of that, I've done that, and finally I realized that sometime causes some embarrassment. That's why I don't like to be involved in a student. Uh, and after a point of time, all the groups become groups for fun, groups for some other sharing other details. I don't want to listen. I don't want to read those things. People do things specifically in a certain age, certain things. I'm much above that, so I don't want to listen that. Sorry, right? I hope you would understand my position also,
Yes, sir. Yes.
right? Okay. Anything else that you want to know? Anyone? Or I think it's clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very
And
much.
sir, could you share the slides that you just shown us?
Yeah, I would share that entire format,
Okay, sir.
right? Okay. Bye. Take care.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, during the class. Yeah, during the class. You will be presenting the way I present stuff. You will be presenting, right? And
Excuse me,
it's
sir.
yeah.
Sir, we need to switch on our cameras while presenting.
I was about to say it's a switch on camera presentation. Yeah, you
Okay,
should
sir.
be seen also.
Okay, so sir, we
Okay, sir.
have to present articles from the resources you have given to us.
I will give you. Yeah, I didn't give you so far.
Sir, first for group
Okay.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right? First for group.
And so, since it's a group project, so while presenting it, we'll do it individually, like one by one to all these
Yeah.
people.
So, for example, if you have, let's say, taken 18 words, so each person would be discussing 3 words. That way, if there are 6 people in 18 words, so you
Okay.
would be, yeah. And once the presentation is going on, all the 6 members will keep their camera on, and also uh, all of you would know the meaning of all other verses. Like that, I have got the 3 words, so I get to know the meaning of three. And from the audience, anyone can ask question or seek clarification from anyone. So maybe the group number one and the member number one is present has presented 3 words, and maybe the audience didn't get the much clarification or is seeking the clarification, then may probably direct uh, the question or the query to group number four or fifth, right? So make it as a group presentation rather than, as I saw that, as I see and say that a student make group presentation which is supposed to be a series episode. So it comes like a crime patrol episode 1, crime patrol episode 2, crime patrol episode. What is the difference between episode and series?
Episode is just a
This is
part
a
of it.
collection of
Series
They're
episodes.
is
not
the
connected, they're not
complete
connected,
story.
they're not
Yes, sir.
connected. Series may everything is connected. So group presentation has to be a series rather than a episode. But most that's what mostly happens. So I am just warning you against what students tend to do. Right?
And so, for like each word when we're talking, it's just about telling the meaning, or we have to elaborate that exact word
Dekho,
from
just a
the
second.
context we have taken, or something that way.
Yes. Okay, well, I'll explain you again. Sorry, it's getting this uh, feeling of just a second. So you would, let's say that you're reading this article, mm, right? And you came across this word, the pioneering abstract painter, right? So you would look at the word in dictionary. So first of all, you would explain me the article. You would say that we read an article, picked up an article. You would show an article, the article the way I'm showing. And this was about why Korea's moon jar is so iconic. And it basically explained the cultural and social dimensions attached to the jar, and that has made it so iconic. And variety of other things which are given about the jar. You would tell us that these are the cultural reasons that have made it uh, iconic in Korean culture and is also now expanding beyond the Korean culture and has become Korea's post-colonial national identity, right? That's what we're telling. So, and then you would say that we have picked up 18 words and we will discuss that. So the first word is pioneering, and you would be presenting it in this format. So your this word pioneering, and here you would also insert the link of the material so that your uh, classmates can also go to that if they like your presentation and want to go to the resource, and then you would give us meaning, right? Pioneering work or pioneering individual does something that has not done before, for example by developing or using new method. So you would say that pioneering means doing something that hasn't that is not done before, right? Or uh, is not done by anyone, something of that kind it means, right? So you would pick up meaning from Colin, you would pick up meaning from Cambridge, from three dictionary, you say that you see here. So from the three resources, Cambridge, Colin, and Webster. So the meaning from the three different resources here, and then one sample sentence or specimen, frequent combination, and after that you will show us that word getting used in your article, right? You will say that how this is how it is used. It's fine. The pioneer abstract painter means, have you see that how uh, accurately this word is being used? It says that if you say that something or someone, sorry, it's not about that. It's very accurately used. Pioneering work or pioneering individual does something that has not been done before. For example, developing or using method or technique. And it says that the pioneering abstract painter Kim Won Ki collected these ceramics and featured them in his painting and is widely credited for coining the term moon jar. The other contemporary painters like Choi Yong Wook have taken moon jars as their subject matter. The pioneering, so which means that he would be the one painter who probably led the way for this kind of abstract painting, right? So that's why they used pioneer. So you would show us that how it is used, right? Did you get the clarity now? Who was asking, Anamika, or who was
Yes,
asking?
we
Yes, sir.
have got the clarity.
So it,
Okay.
Uh, I have one more question. Do we have to find all the 18 words from all different articles or from the single article?
From the single article. I mean, mostly these articles will fetch you at least 15-20 words. Right?
Okay, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
sure. And
and
again, as I
so
said, yeah, yeah, Sanya.
sorry to interrupt, but
It's fine.
since it's a rare thing, but what if any two groups choose the same article? Like it's rare, I know, but if it
Uh,
happens and
it
we'll not be
happens.
knowing or
Yeah,
communicating.
so I think it would rather be a good idea that if you choose an
Hmm.
article, you immediately notify that in the group. In
Okay.
here, you paste it here that we have chosen this article. So that would save you from
Okay.
save the two groups from choosing the same article, right?
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So that's your platform for communicating. Okay.
Sir,
yeah. Yes. Sir.
till
Yeah.
what time will you send the links of the articles?
In an hour, two
In
hours
an
by
hour?
12 o'clock. 12
Uh,
o'clock.
Okay, sir. No problem. Thank
Okay.
you.
Maybe that if you again, I mean, find it difficult to carry out the task, maybe I'll help you tomorrow. I'll see that how it pans out tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Sir, when do we have to submit this project?
You have to present it tomorrow, not to submit. You have to present, and then yeah. Fine, Avantika.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, stop presenting. So you have also recording with you, in case that if you are stuck with something, if you think that you do not have a complete roadmap to go ahead with this with this task, then you can go back to the uh, recording, and you can see that in fast forward motion, and then probably you would again get the more clarity. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.